Hello, I'm Essay, your AI essayist. Please note that all content, audio and video in this presentation are AI generated. As AI can sometimes produce inaccuracies, I encourage you to verify any factual information presented. With that in mind, let's begin.
John Wallis, a figure of considerable eminence in the 17th century, occupied a prominent position within the burgeoning scientific community of England. His contribution stretched across numerous domains, encompassing mathematics, cryptography, theology, and music theory. Among his extensive body of work, a treatise of algebra, both historical and practical, published in 1685, stands as a significant, albeit complex, contribution to the development of algebraic thought. This work, ambitious in scope, proved influential in disseminating algebraic ideas and establishing certain notations, while also attracting its share of criticism for its unconventional approach and occasional lack of rigor by modern standards. The genesis of Wallis' Treatise of Algebra occurred within a context of increasing mathematical sophistication. While algebra had ancient roots, its development in Europe during the Renaissance and subsequent centuries saw a gradual shift from rhetorical algebra, where problems were expressed in words, to symbolic algebra, employing abbreviations and symbols to represent quantities and operations. Figures such as François Villard and René Descartes significantly advanced this transition, introducing improved notation and demonstrating the power of algebra in geometric contexts. Wallis, aware of these developments, aimed to synthesize and systematize existing knowledge, presenting a comprehensive treatment of algebra accessible to a wider audience. He sought to encompass both the historical evolution of the subject and its practical applications, thus reflecting the title of his work. The Treatise of Algebra represents a substantial undertaking, divided into numerous chapters covering arithmetic, algebraic equations, geometric problems, and even indeterminate equations. Wallis commenced with a methodical exposition of fundamental arithmetic operations, establishing a firm base for his later algebraic explorations. He dedicated considerable attention to the manipulation of equations, exploring methods for solving linear, quadratic, and cubic equations. His treatment of negative numbers represents a noteworthy aspect of his work. While negative numbers have been employed sporadically before, their acceptance remained hesitant due to conceptual difficulties. Wallis grappled with the interpretation of negative quantities. Attempting to provide a geometrical interpretation, he illustrated negative numbers on a line, extending in the opposite direction from zero. He considered the multiplication of negative numbers, ultimately establishing the rule that the product of two negatives yields a positive. Wallis adopted and promoted certain notations that gained prevalence, contributing to the standardization of algebraic symbolism. For instance, he employed a symbol similar to the infinity symbol, which he utilized initially to denote indefinitely large numbers, before later becoming associated with infinity itself. He also used fractional exponents, expressing the square root of x as x to the power of 1/2, and the cube root of x as x to the power of 1/3, foreshadowing the modern notation for rational exponents. A major contribution to simplifying algebraic manipulation. Beyond symbolic manipulation, Wallis addressed the application of algebra to geometry. He explored methods for solving geometric problems using algebraic equations, demonstrating the power of this approach for determining lengths, areas, and volumes. He considered problems related to conic sections, curves formed by the intersection of a plane and a cone, employing algebraic techniques to analyze their properties. This integration of algebra and geometry reflected the broader trend of analytical geometry, pioneered by Descartes, though Wallis' approach differed in crucial respects. A significant portion of the Treatise of Algebra addresses indeterminate equations, equations with multiple variables which possess an infinite number of solutions. Wallis explored methods for finding integer solutions to such equations, a field with a rich history dating back to Diophantus of Alexandria. He applied techniques involving continued fractions to solve indeterminate equations, showcasing his ingenuity and mathematicals. The immediate impact of Wallis' Treatise of Algebra involved widespread dissemination of algebraic knowledge. As a comprehensive text written in English, a rarity at the time, given the proclivity for Latin in scholarly works, it made algebra accessible to a broader audience, including students and practitioners who may possess limited knowledge of classical languages. The book became a standard reference work, consulted by mathematicians and educators for decades. Its adoption of standardized notations, like fractional exponents, with a significant. Wallis' Treatise of Algebra also stimulated further research and development in algebra. His treatment of negative numbers, while controversial, prompted discussion and refinement of these concepts. His work on indeterminate equations inspired subsequent mathematicians to explore this area further, leading to important advances in number theory. His influence extended to figures such as Isaac Newton, who drew inspiration from Wallis' work in his own mathematical investigations. However, the Treatise of Algebra garnered its share of critiques. One prominent criticism centered on Wallis' handling of infinite quantities and his geometric interpretations of algebraic concepts. While Wallis made efforts to explain these ideas intuitively, his arguments occasionally lacked rigor by modern standards. For instance, his treatment of infinitesimals, infinitely small quantities, raised concerns about the validity of his methods. His geometric interpretations of negative numbers, while innovative, suffered from limitations, as they failed to fully capture the abstract nature of these quantities. Another line of critique focused on Wallis' occasional reliance on intuition and analogy, rather than strict deduction. While intuition can play a valuable role in mathematical discovery, it must be supplemented by rigorous proofs to ensure the validity of results. Wallis' tendency to jump to conclusions without providing adequate justification drew criticism from some contemporaries. A more stringent approach to mathematical rigor, championed by figures such as Newton and Leibniz, would gradually become the norm in subsequent decades. Despite these criticisms, the historical significance of Wallis' Treatise of Algebra remains undeniable. It served as a valuable resource for disseminating algebraic knowledge, promoting standardized notation, and stimulating further research. It represents a snapshot of the state of algebraic thought in the 17th century, reflecting both its strengths and its limitations. Wallis' work directly influenced a number of mathematicians. Isaac Newton, a towering figure in the history of mathematics and physics, acknowledged the impact of Wallis' Arithmetica Infinitorum, an earlier work by Wallis which, along with the Treatise of Algebra, aided in shaping Newton's calculus. Newton built upon Wallis' methods for calculating areas under curves, developing more general techniques for integration. Similarly, Roger Coates, an English mathematician and astronomer, drew inspiration from Wallis' work in his investigations of logarithms and exponential functions. The mathematical landscape shifted considerably in the decades following the publication of Wallis' Treatise of Algebra. The development of calculus by Newton and Leibniz revolutionized mathematics, providing powerful new tools for solving problems in physics, engineering, and other fields. The emphasis on rigor and abstraction increased as mathematicians sought to establish a more solid foundation for their work. Set theory, pioneered by Georg Cantor, provided a new framework for understanding infinite quantities, addressing some of the concerns raised by Wallis' intuitive treatment of infinity. Abstract algebra emerged as a distinct discipline, focusing on the study of algebraic structures such as groups, rings, and fields, providing a more general and axiomatic approach to algebra. In retrospect, John Wallis' A Treatise of Algebra, both historical and practical, represents a pivotal moment in the history of mathematics. It stands as a testament to the intellectual ferment of the 17th century, a period of profound change and innovation. While Wallis' work may not meet modern standards of rigor, it played a crucial role in shaping the development of algebraic thought and disseminating mathematical knowledge. It serves as a reminder that even works which draw criticism can be of enduring historical significance, providing essential stepping stones for subsequent advances. Its lasting legacy rests upon its role in the evolution of algebraic notation, its comprehensive treatment of existing knowledge, and its influence on later generations of mathematicians, solidifying its place as a cornerstone in the evolution of mathematical understanding.
We really appreciate you tuning in to this AI-powered presentation. Our goal is to push the boundaries of AI in content creation, and your input is invaluable. If there's a particular subject you'd like to see us tackle next, or if you have suggestions on how we could fine-tune our AI's creative prompts, please don't hesitate to leave your ideas in the comments section. We're excited to bring you more unique content very soon.